Hello, hi. This is Sachin, and I am here to present my one of my machine learning project. The project name is Income Prediction, and I have deployed it to one of the cloud environment. And from there, I have generated an API, and using that, I have done the predictions. So let's start. First, we'll talk about the problem statements. It means like what is it we are trying to solve using machine learning approach. What is the problem that has been given to us by the client? And after that, we'll discuss what is the data given to us by the client. What will be the individual columns and what will be our target columns. Once we understand the data in details, we'll talk about application flow, like the architecture part, how we're going to convert our bigger problem into smaller models, and by combining all those models, how we are going to solve the big picture. So let's start. Let me share my screen. So here we are creating a Flask application, and these are the necessary imports which are required for creating a Flask application. Now, what is Flask? It's a web application development framework. Now, what is web application? Web application is any application which can be accessed over internet connection. Why the web application is necessary? Because using this, our application will be accessible from all over the world. And Flask is going to help us because it's the framework via which we will create web applications. So here you can see these are all the necessary imports, as I said, for creating my Flask application. Now, if I scroll a little bit down, you can see there are a couple of routes I have created. This is the empty route, this is the predict route, and this is the train route. So the train route will be used when we will be doing the training. With this predict route, we will be doing the prediction, and this empty route is nothing but just a you know my home page of application. I mean to say it's the home page of my application. Using these routes, I will able to reach out to my code. So let's talk about training route in little more details. Here first we do validation and then we'll do model training. I have created separate class for validation and model training. Let me show it to you. So this is the class and this is the method. Okay, and this is again the class train model and this is the method again. Before moving forward, I want to discuss about logging. As we know, application logging is necessary. We need to log whatever we are doing in step to step of our code. There are several ways by which we can perform login, but here I have created my own logger class. As you can see, let me show it to you. Just give me a moment. This is my application log, as you can see. So what basically this logger is doing is, is capturing the date using this. Then it's capturing the time using this, and then it's capturing the message. You know. So once we are done with, uh, you know, application logger class, I will move forward. Now let's talk about validation. Post will talk about actual modern training steps. For training, I have created, this class as I said earlier, and this is the method which I am calling from this class. Now let's go to this method and see what are all the different steps that I have performed. In the very first step, what I'm doing is that I am logging the message start of validation on files for train. You know, once we have logged the message, then we are logging to see what are the validation steps that we are going to perform. For example, in the first validation step, we are reading the length of date stamp in file, length of timestamp in file, column names, number of columns, and the question arises, where are we reading this from? We are reading this from schema training.json file, which I have created. Let me show it to you. Here you can see the sample file name, length of data stamp, length of timestamp in file, number of columns, and the actual column lengths along with their data types. Once we are done with obtaining all this, we are going to define our regex. We are creating the regex to validate the file name, whether the file name is in this format or not. If you see my regex, it looks something like this. First come the file name, then there will be underscore, then there will be some digit, then again underscore, then there will be some digit, then it will end with .csv file, .csv extension. And if you check my schema training.json, you will see it's the same format. Okay, so if my file name matches this, we will move the file to good data folder, else we'll move it to bad data folder. Now moving forward, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start the validation of the file. So for this I've created this method which is validation file name raw. Let me go into it. As you can see, what I'm doing basically here is, first I'm deleting the good data training folder and good data bad data training folder and good data training folder. The question is why I am doing this, because there may be scenarios, there might be case that this is not the first time I'm running the my code, so there will be some existing good data folder and bad data folder. So before moving forward, I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to create a good data folder. And then you can see over in my code is that I'm iterating over training batch files, where I have kept the files which I received from the client. Just let me show it to you. See, received from the file. So what I'm doing is that I'm matching the file name. So if it matches the file name, in the next step, I'm using this array regression method. Okay. For matching the file name. Once it's done, I will move to the next part. I'm removing the .csv from the file name, and then I'm removing the underscore. Okay, and post that, what I'm doing, I'm comparing it with the length of data stamp in file and length of timestamp in file. If these all criteria matches, then I'm going to move the file to good data folder, else I'm going to move the file to bad data folder. So what basically I mean is that, see, this is the name of the file, in this format we are expecting the file names to be. So first thing is that I will check if it matches this income data. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the .csv. Then I'm going to remove the underscore. And post, what I'm going to do is that I will take this, and I'll be compare with the date stamp, and then I will compare it with the timestamp. This is the timestamp. So if it matches, then we'll move it to good data folder, else we'll move it to the bad data folder. Okay. So once this validation file name raw completes, we'll move to the next step, which is validate column length. So in this step, what I'm going to do is that, as you can see, I'm going to validate my, column length. So how I'm going to do is that I'm just iterating over my good raw folder. Okay, I'm reading the CSV files, and then what I'm doing, I'm using .zip method. So what it does, it will create a list of row and columns. I will pull out the column and I will compare it with number of columns. If it matches, then I will push it to good raw data folder, and if it's not, then I will push it to bad raw data folders. And if there is any error occurred, everything will be captured using my exception block, which I have written over here. Okay. Now moving forward, Once I'm done with, comparing the column length, I will move with the next step, which is validate missing values in whole column. So what I'm going to do is that in this method, I will see if there is any if there are any columns where all the values are NA or null. I'm going to discard that file in that case, and I'm going to move that file to bad data folder. Okay, this is what I'm doing it in my validate missing values in whole column method. Okay, now moving forward, once this step is done, my validation completes. My validation completes, and then I will start with the transformation part. So in the transformation part, the first thing is that replace missing with null. This is the method. You know, what I am doing is that if you see over my screen, this is the class and this is the method replace missing with null. So what I'm doing is that I'm iterating over the source. This is my source here. Shell.good here is the directory. I'm storing to a variable which is source. Okay, and now I'm iterating over it. And what I'm doing is that wherever I'm finding a categorical columns, I'm putting a double score, double quotes over there. Double quotes over there. Let me explain it to you. See, these are my categorical columns. So I will put a double score. Okay, double quotes over here. Okay. So once this is done, then I will log the message that this has completed. And if there is any error, it will be captured using my exception block. And once this step is done, my data transformation is completed. I will move to my DB operation part. So the first step is that what I'm doing is that I'm creating a table in my database. Let me tell you, I'm using a Cassandra database, you know, for all my DB operation you know so you can see over here this is the class DB operation and this is the method database connection. What this method is doing is that it is setting up a connection with my Cassandra database. And let me tell you one more thing is I'm using a Cassandra online version to do all my DB operation tasks. So I was calling this create table DB. So what is it's doing is that it is setting up the connection first. Once the connection is set, what it is going to do is going to create a table which is good raw. One thing to note here is what it test2. It is a key space. Let me tell you, in case of SQL, you will be knowing that first we need to create the database name and then we have to create the table name within that. But in case of Cassandra, the things are little different. What we do here is that first we create the database, then we will create the key space within that, and then we are going to create the table name, and then the rest things will be done. So this is how I'm creating a table, and if it's done successfully, it will log up a message saying table created successfully, and if there is any error, it will be captured using my exception block. Okay, so moving forward, the next step is that insert into table good data. you know if I go to this method, you will see again I'm first what I'm doing is that I'm setting up the connection, as you can see, and then what I'm doing is that I'm inserting my data into that particular table which I created earlier using this key space which is test2. This is how the things are done. Once this is done successfully, it will log the message saying data loaded successfully, and if it fails, then again it will be captured using mi exception block. And once these two steps are done, the next step is that I'm going to delete the existing good data training folder. Uh, why I'm doing this? Because my good data folder and bad data folder are the folders which I have created for temporary use. Once my task is completed, there is no need of keeping those folders because those folders will not take any part in my code execution. So I will simply delete those folders. Okay, and once this is done, my Again, I'm going to log up a message like a good data folder deleted, then moving the bad files to archive and deleting the bad data folders. So this is the, again, move bad files to archive bad. You can see the method over here, you know. So what I'm doing over here is, you can see over here, how I'm doing. This is the source, this is the directory again, and this is the directory and then parented. What I'm doing over here is, first is that I will check if the source exists. If exists, then I'm just printing good to proceed. And if not, I'm going to create this archive bad data. This is the directory I'm going to create, and I'm going to push the files from bad data folder to this directory. And once this is done, I'm going to delete the bad data folder. You can see this is going deleted. Using this dot rm tree settle dot rm tree, I'm going to delete the destination. And which is my destination? What is my destination? This is my destination. I'm going to delete it. Okay, so hope this is clear to you. Now I will move to the next part. So once I have moved the files to archive and I have deleted the bad data folder, then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select the data from my database. For this, I've created a method which is called selecting data from table into CSV. So here you can see whatever data I loaded into the table, this good row table using this key space, I'm going to extract all those and I'm going to save it to a CSV file. And this is the code I've written to fulfill my task. If it's completes, then it will again log up the message data loaded to CSV successfully. And if it fails, again it will be captured in my exception plot. So once this step is done, you know my validation part, the training validation part is completed successfully. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I will move to the next step. Just give me a second. Training model. See, once validation is done, I'm going to do the actual training. Okay, so this is the class and this is the method from this class. Okay, I'm calling it. Okay, so here, if you go inside my train model class, what you will see is that the first thing what I'm doing is that I'm loading the data. I'm calling this data getter. So let's go into the data getter. So what you can see over is that, this is the, data getter. This is the path from where I'm going to load the data. And the return will be, I'm reading it as a CSV file, and then I will return it as a data frame. Okay. So once I have obtained the data, I will move to the next part, which is pre-processing step. So in the pre-processing step, what I'm going to do is that, let me show it to you. In this pre-processing step, what I'm going to do, or what I'm doing is that I'm using a strip method to remove the extra spaces from my categorical columns. I'm going to remove the extra spaces from my columns. Okay, and this is the this is the code which I have written to achieve my task. As you can see, if any error is there, it will be captured in my exception block. Okay, so once this pre-processing step is done, I'm going to remove the education column. So why I'm removing this education column is, you see my data. This is the education column and this is the education number. This education number is representing the same thing as the education column. So there is no point in keeping this education column. So I will simply remove this education column and I will move forward. Now what I'm doing is that I'm replacing the question mark with np.nan and I'm making it true. In place is equal to true. It will be a permanent change. Okay. So uh, if I go a little bit back, which I explained a few minutes back. So I was saying that in the preprocessor, I was removing the extra spaces. So why there was a necessity for doing that? because when I was trying to replace this question mark with np.nan, I wasn't able to do it successfully because there was extra spaces. So I had to write a code to remove the extra spaces, which I have done inside my preprocessor, and post that I'm replacing the question mark with np.nan. And post that what I'm going to do is that I separating the features and the label. For this, I am calling the separate label features from the class preprocessor. Let me show it to you. Okay, this is the separate label feature. Okay, so in this method, what I'm going to do, I'm separating the features and the columns. So here you can see, I'm dropping the label column, targeted column, you know, and here you can see targeting column, and I'm saving it to X, and then I'm saving it to Y. And post that what I'm doing, I'm returning this action Y. If it's successful, if there is any error in it, it will be captured in my exception block. Now moving forward, you know, what I'm going to do is that once I have separated, my features and levels, what I'm doing is that I'm mapping my, my label column in such a way that 50, less than 50k will be 0 and greater than 50k will be 1. Okay. So once this is done, and I'm saving it to a variable which is 1. Okay. Once this is done, what I'm going to check is that missing values are present in my data set or not. So for this, what I'm doing is that, let me show it to you. I will pass my x values, and check. This is the method for that. I'm checking whether there is any missing values present. If there is any such missing values, then what we are going to do is that I will, if there is all the columns of my if all the columns contain some missing value, I'm going to discard that. Okay, and I will move it to the bad data folder. Now if I go a little bit down, you can see one more thing. What I am doing over here is that I'm calling impute missing values. So what I'm basically doing over here is that using impute missing values, I'm calling categorical imputers. So this categorical imputers, what is going to do is that is going to replace my missing values with the most occurred item in that particular column. And this is how another way how I'm going to handle the missing values, using categorical imputers. Okay, so once this is done, once this is done, okay, once this is done, I will move to the next part, which is scaling the numerical column. So whatever numerical columns I have, I'm going to scale it using a standard scaler. As you can see, I'm doing a fit transform and I'm scaling it up. Okay, so if you, because if you don't scale it, again it will be an issue. Our model will not perform better. you know so once this step is done, what I'm going to do is I'm encoding the categorical column. Encoding the categorical columns, it means in this method what I'm going to do is that all the categorical values, whatever categorical values I have, I'm going to convert it to numerical values. You can see how I'm doing it. This is the code which I have written to fulfill my task. Okay, now moving forward, once once I have handled the missing values, and then once I have scaled up my data, once I have imputed the once I have encoded the categorical columns as well, post what I'm going to do is that we are going to cascade it. I will bring the this the output of this numerical column, whatever I'm getting from this method, and whatever I'm getting from this method, this encoding categorical column, I'm going to cascade it, and I'm going to save it to a variable which is x. And how I am saving it, how I am cascading it in column wise. Axis is equal to 1. I've given that. It means that I'm doing it column wise. Okay, so once this is done, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to handle my imbalanced data set. Why is the necessity of doing this? Because if you see, if I don't handle my data set, then again the model which I'm building up is not going to be the perfect model. It will not give the scores or predictions as expected. So again, there will be an issue. And for this, I'm using handle imbalanced data set. So what I'm doing over here is, I'm creating, I'm using a random oversampler for, handling the imbalanced data set. Okay. So once this is done, so this is the code of, this is the method which I have written for handling the imbalanced data set using random oversampler. I have did it, and if there is any error, it will be captured using my XSM block. And you can see over here that what I'm returning this, and this I'm returning this X and this Y I'm returning. Okay. So now moving forward, once we are done with this, now moving forward is that I'm going to start my clustering. For clustering, I'm using k-mean. So in case of k-mean, as we know that we need to know the value of k, and for knowing the value of k, we do the elbow plot. Using elbow plot, we get to know, okay, this is the optimal number of clusters, so we can select and start doing our model training. Okay, so let's go into it. And k-mean clustering class, you know what I'm doing over here is that you can see I'm uh, I'm just passing the number of clusters. The init method is k-mean plus plus and random state is 42. And now I'm what I'm doing is I'm doing a fit. I'm calling the fit method, and post what I'm doing is that I'm creating a elbow plot. Okay, this is the elbow plot. Okay, so what you can see over is that this method I'm calling now this elbow method. Okay, so the elbow method, and what I'm doing over here is I'm saving this k-mean elbow plot with .png extension into one of my directories. So where I am saving it, let me show it to you, and how it looks like, let me show it to you. This is my k-mean algo png, algo plot. So from this graph, we have to identify the how many clusters we should form. Okay, so when we are doing it programmatically, you know, everything should be automated. So for this, what I have done is I have used a nean locator which does the exact same thing as my elbow plot. Okay, using the k-need locator, I'm able to find again. See, I'm giving the range and WCS is curve is equal to and direction is equal to decreasing. Using this knee locator, I am obtaining the optimal value of my cluster. Okay, and I'm returning it. Okay, if there is any error, it will be captured over my exception block. Okay, so now moving further, I'm calling this create cluster method. I'm passing the x where I'm getting this, this x. I'm passing this x. You can see this x I'm getting is from here, as you can see, and this number of clusters I'm passing over here. Number of clusters I'm passing over here. This is the number of clusters, as you can see. Now I will go into inside this method, as you can see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data frame with cluster values. Okay, so let me show it to you. See, what I'm doing is that here I'm doing again, k-mean. I'm doing a k-mean algorithm. I'm calling the k-mean algorithm using the k-mean algorithm. I mean to say, I'm passing the number of clusters, init method random state, and then I'm doing a fit predict, and then I'm saving it. And how I'm saving it with the name this, and with the name this, I'm saving it. So let me show it to you where this k-mean is getting saved. So you see here I have set the model with this name. So this is how I'm saving it. So let me tell you one more thing. See here I've in my file operation I've written the method to save the model. Okay, I'm creating a model with this name, and then I'm saving it with .sav extension. Okay, and once it's done, it's all good. If there is an error, again it will to be captured in my exception block. Okay. So once I'm done with create cluster method, what I'm going to do, I'm again adding my label column. You know, I'm adding my label column, and then what I'm doing, I'm finding out what are the unique, how many unique clusters are there present. And post this, these steps are done, what I'm going to do is that I will be dividing my data into train and test. You know, and then I will move forward. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm calling this model finder method, model finder class, as you can see. And for this model finder, you know, I'm using two algorithms here, which is naive Bayes and XGBoost. So as you can see over here is that what I'm doing here, a method name is get best parameter for naive Bayes. So how I'm doing it, I'm passing, you know, the parameters over here, you know. See, and using grid search, I'm pulling out the best parameter for naive Bayes. Okay, and same thing I will be doing for XGBoost, as you can see. And once I'm done with this, these things, once I'm done with pulling the best parameters, again I'm going to create create a model. You know, again I'm going to you know, write code for, you know, for k-mean. I mean, again, I'm going to write code for XGBoost with the best parameters which I have obtained and for the name bias. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the scores. Here you can see I'm comparing the scores. You know, I'm getting the, you know, comparing the scores, as you can see over here. Now, once I have obtained the score and once I'm done with comparing the score, whichever you know, algorithm perform the best, I will select it further for my prediction. And from here, my you know, my training is completed. Once these steps are done, my training is completed. So let me show my log to you. See, my training ends here. Now, once the training is done, what I'm going to do, the next step is I'm going to do the prediction. Okay. So let me go back to my code again. So as you can see, you know, first is that app route, empty route. I mean, this empty route is the home page of my application. So let me show it to you. What I basically mean is if I do a localhost 5001, it will not be able to access like this. First, I need to run my code. Let me run it for you. Just give me a second. It is going to take a couple of seconds. See, and now I will take this, you know, this got generated. I will take this and I will go to my browser, you know, and I will paste this. See, this this page has come up. Okay, so what is happening here is I will tell you. When I'm accessing this link, the control is coming over here. It's opening my application, web application. And what is going to do? It is going to check the method. Okay, this method is get. Okay, fine. Then what is going to do? It's going to return the render template. What the render template is going to do? You know, it comes up with a flash. What is going to do is that it's going to look up for the file render template, and it will look for index.html file. So let me show it to you what I basically mean. It will look for a folder template, and using that it will look for index.html. Once I find out, it will launch my application. And once this is done, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start my predict. I will come to my predict route. Okay. So how I'm going to come to my predict route? Once the user clicks over here, default file predict, the control will come up here. Just give me a second. Let me show it to you. Here. Okay. It will again check the method. Okay, this is post. Okay. Okay, fine. Then it will move forward, and what it will do, it will this prediction validation it will do, and then it will do the prediction from model. It means actual prediction it's going to do. So in this prediction validation, whatever steps we did in case of training, the same steps will be performed in case of prediction validation, like matching the file name, replacing the missing values, changing the categorical values to the numerical values, scaling up my data. And again, for the prediction, I have again created a schema file for validating the file names. Let me show it to you. Okay, uh, schema prediction.json. Okay, so here I have created it. Okay, using this I'm going to compare all the file name, the data stamp, timestamp, the way I did it in case of training. Same things will be done over here. Now this predict from model is the actual prediction that I'm going to do. So what happens now? Let's come here. Now once I click over default file predict, what is going to do? Just observe. It's 200. Here you can see my code is running. 200 means everything is running fine till now. Okay, so let for wait for a couple of seconds. It's taking a little bit of time, maybe because of the database Cassandra which I'm using, because I'm using a free version of it, and it's a little bit slow. Oh, now it has come up. So you can see over here is that it has created a file which is prediction.csv. Here every predictions, all the predictions that I have done will be stored in this file. So where is this file? Okay, let's come up to my code. Let me show it to you how it looks like. I will go to my prediction. Yeah, prediction output file, prediction.csv. So this is the actual predictions. Let me scroll up. See, for zeroth row, the income will be this. For first row, it will be this. Second, third, fourth. This is the actual predictions I'm doing over here. So once this prediction is done, now I'm going to deploy my code to cloud. So for this, what I have done is that I have created a CI/CD pipeline. You know, see a complete CI/CD pipeline. The basic, the most advantage of creating the CI/CD pipeline is that whenever if I have to do some changes, I will just push it back and push it to the GitHub, and again I will be able to modify the changes on a daily basis in the CI/CD pipeline. So what I need to do basically is, let me show it to you. Let me open my README file. I believe my system is a little slow. Just give me a moment, guys. See, this is my README file. So what I'm going to do is, see, the very first thing, is that whenever I want to run my entire project, is that first I need to run my requirements.txt file. And for creating the requirement.txt file, this is the command for creating the requirements.txt file. Okay. And I'm using Python 3.7, and the version I'm using here is the environment I'm using is Python 3.7. So where is my requirement.txt file? Let me show it to you. See, I need to run this requirement.txt file. How I will run this? Pip install -r, requirement.txt. Post I will run this, then my project will be good to go. I will able to, launch my, application via this UI or using cloud. Okay. So what I need to do is that I need to add this to my GitHub first. So these are the steps for adding it to my GitHub. So git init, then I will do git add space dot, then I will do a commit, then I will make my branch to main, and then I will give the URL, and then simply I will push my code to GitHub. And once I've done with pushing the code to GitHub, I will go, as I said, I have used a Circus CI/CD pipeline, a complete CI/CD pipeline for deploying my code to cloud. And the cloud version cloud which I'm using is Heroku. So let me show it to you. This is just give me a moment. Let me open Circle CI. Okay. So as you can see, this is my Circle CI. Okay. So in Circle CI, what I'm doing is, what I have to do, I will go to my projects. Here I will go to my projects. Just give me a second, guys. Here I will go to my project. I will select my project, and post selecting the project, I have to take care of few things. I have to set up the organization set. I have to set up the variables. I mean to say, just give me a second. Let me show it to you. What I basically mean is that, see, in Circle CI, I need to give these all things like Docker Hub user and Docker Hub password, then Heroku app key, Heroku app name, Heroku email address, and Docker email. This Docker image will be a unique. If it is not unique, then we will fail to deploy it to cloud. Okay. So from where we are going to get all these things. So let me go to my code and let me show it to you. See, in this Docker, I will just sign in. Let me sign it. Just give me a second. See, so we have to get the Docker username and Docker password. The first step is done. Okay. From here, I will get the Docker username and Docker password. Okay. Now I have to get the Heroku app key. Okay. And Docker image, I will write something like this is an income prediction. So if you see over here, let me show it to you. This is the Docker image income 246812. This is a unique name. Okay, then only it's going to work. Okay. Now the next step is that I need to get the Heroku app key. So where I'm going to get the Heroku app key? So let me go here. See here, if you go click over here, then I have to go to account setting, and once I go to account setting, I will scroll down and I will see get a reveal button. Once I click on reveal, it will generate an Heroku app key for me. Okay. So once this is done, what is the other thing I'm going to do? I'm going to give the Heroku email address, the email address which I used to log into my Heroku application. Then I have to give a Heroku application name, you know, Heroku application name. Let me show it to you how this is done. Heroku application name. I will go back to Heroku. See, I will when I click on this new and create a new application. Here I will simply give the name, and let's select the region. Anything is fine, and I will create app. And post that an application will be created. As you can see, an application name will be created. Now, how this is going to work? So let's go to my Circle CI, and let me tell you this. Let me see. This is my Circle CI. When I'm done with setting up the environments in Circle CI, okay. I mean when I'm done with giving all this, giving all this. Things in my setting up all these things in my Circle CI, I will run my application from Circle CI. So, once I run this, once I run this, let me show it to you. you know, see, this is my application. If I have to run, I will just click here and it will start running. And once start running, it will build an image in my Docker Hub. Once this complete, this step is complete. Let me show it to you. This is the complete step. Once these all things are done, it will create a image in my Docker Hub. Okay. So once this Docker Hub image is created, what I will do, I will go to my Heroku cloud. I will go to my application here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to open the application. So what is going to happen now? Let's see. Just give me a second. Let me open it again. Heroku. Open application. See, now my application is open. Now what I need to do is I will just click on default file predict, and my prediction will be done. Here I can give the the path. If the client has given us the file name and I know the path, I'm going to and I know the path and I know that that file I'm going to use for my prediction, I can give that path and I can do a custom file predict over here. Else I will do default file predict. So let's watch. See, once I do default file predict, again is going to create the prediction.csv file. So that's all, guys. So I was able to successfully deploy my application to cloud. I'm using a Heroku for now. In my next project, I will be deploying my I will be deploying my application to another cloud like AWS or Azure. So that's all from my side, guys. And one more thing, I just want to let you know that what is the if you talk about the application of this, there are certain application I can say right now for my project is that whatever e-commerce companies are there, uh, based on this project, they will have the idea, okay, I need to create a rule, I need to provide offer to certain set of people, certain group of peoples. So by seeing the individual income, they can, provide the offer to the individual person. And not only that, government can even take advantage of this idea and create some policy or schemes for certain group of people, and will able to identify the target people and easily will be able to help them to avail the best of their schemes. So that's all, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I think is the video went too long. Thank you. uh, Till we meet again. Bye bye.